Get started. Sure. I'm going to talk about this. Okay, let me talk to him so I can. And it's off. Yeah. If it's unplugged, it can't catch fire. Yeah. If you're not using it, unplug. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hey, let me ask a question. For you guys, you're here because you're here for fire warden training? Yeah. You volunteer? Yes. No. They told you. No, because you guys have to. You guys volunteer? They said you're going to be a fire safety warden, huh? Volunteer, huh? Okay. All right. Because someone had made a comment, how come they don't make fire safety training like this mandatory? I've been in a job for 45 years. I don't know why we have mandatory training for discrimination, for this, for that, for not turning your computer off. But they don't make it mandatory to tell you how to help each other out in the event of an emergency. Or, you know, like, yeah, you know, there should be some things like, actually, I think children know more than adults do. I know for a fact that some of the kids in my classes, they saved their families' lives. They got on television and said that. He says, I wouldn't be alive today, but my kid just learned this in school the other day, and she told us what to do. She kept screaming, get down on the floor. You got to swim underneath the smoke. And he says, I didn't know what she's talking about, but we did it. Another one that I got a bunch of questions on was the strips, the power strips. So let me back up a little bit. You can get good power strips. You want a power strip that has a surge protector and a circuit breaker both built into the unit. Now, a surge protector is a bunch of electricity going out in the system. All of this equipment that we have, all these computers, TVs, and you know all that stuff we got in our house, you hope it's on. Is that better? Okay, I am sorry. You know what? It fell off before. Nobody said anything. Now I know why everybody was sleeping in the back row there. I'm not going to mess up a good thing. You know, it's just like my...
Did you get it back on?
Yeah, I got it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's just like my computer at work isn't working well. It just sits there and that little circle just keeps going around. I complained about it, and then I found out, you know what, you can take a nap. I mean, what are you doing? I'm running reports. You know, it just sits there and it keeps going around. So the surge protectors, you can get a real good one. The circuit breaker will shut the electricity off to the unit if you exceed what is safe for it. It'll say how many amps, watts, and it will shut it off. And that's a good thing. And it'll kick off faster than the one going to the house. Your circuit breaker, it'll say 15, 20, that's how many amps. If you exceed it, it's going to shut off. If it ever shuts off, that is a sign that a fire was about to start in your home. They don't trip accidentally. When you reset it and turn it back on, you're giving permission for the fire to go if you didn't figure out why it got there. Maybe you got a space heater plugged in. Maybe it was a bad vacuum cleaner. I don't know, something. But they don't trip off. And many times when I ask people when they had a fire in the house, did the circuit breaker kick off? Yeah, how many times? I don't know, about 10 or 12. Well, that was a clue that there was something wrong, you know. That's why your garage is no longer there. The first time, you know, I'm awake all night if a circuit breaker goes off in my house because I'm thinking about it's in the wall. It's crawling around in the wall, and I can't see it. The surge protector is a surge of electricity. So all this delicate equipment can't take surges. Every time your lights blink, if your lights go off and they come back on, like when the emergency generator is starting, or your lights go out for a second because a car hits a transformer. A car will hit a transformer in a subdivision or on a pole. Everything's done by computer today. The computer will pick up something's wrong and it shuts the electricity off in the area. And then it says, I'm going to take a chance and turn it back on, and it turns the electricity back on. If it still detects that problem, it shuts it off again. It will try 3 times. On the 3rd try, it's 3 strikes, you're out. The electricity won't go on, and it notifies the power company you need to send a rep. Well, every time you go out, there's a giant surge of electricity going out. It's like a garden hose. You crimp it, and when you open up that hose, you get that big spurt of water come out, and then the water starts flowing out again. Well, all this electrical equipment can only take that water just flowing. It can't take that big spurt of water. And a surge protector is a dam that catches that surge and turns it around and returns it to the system, protecting your equipment. You probably didn't read this, but on all these flat screen TVs that you buy, it's in the fine print. It says if it's not on a surge protector and the TV breaks, your warranty is void. A lot of places are asking you to bring the surge protector in to show that it was hooked up to one. It's because it's that delicate, because you notice your TVs don't turn off, the picture goes away. If the little light is on, it says Vizio or you got a light, the TV's still on. The picture is just gone. I got strips in my home. You can buy this stuff. The thing that I didn't mention is, if you unplug it, it can't catch fire. Actually, in many owner's manuals for microwaves, it says when you're not using the microwave, it should be unplugged. I know it messes up the clock and everything, and I don't unplug mine. You can't give, life is a crap roll, people. It's just like everybody says, I'll bet you're not going to put fans in your house after that fire. Yeah, right, I'm not going to put it in there, and then tomorrow it'll be hit by lightning. It's just, you can't quit living. But you can reduce some risk. One of the things that I learned after the fire is there's a new device out called arc fault protectors. All the new homes have them. If you live in a new home, it's a circuit breaker on top of a circuit breaker, and it picks up sparks. And when you start to have a fire, it'll throw out a spark, and that little computer chip picks that up and shuts the circuit breaker off, shuts it off. It's instantaneous. So like, we had to go buy a new vacuum cleaner, because when you turn on a vacuum cleaner, it clicks. You can hear it. It sparks. So you got to buy a sparkless vacuum cleaner now, But at least I know it'll shut the system down in case there's a fire. So that was probably the most asked question during the break is, what can you do about the strips? Buy a good strip. Pay $30, $40 for a good one. So this is the Fire Safety Warden program, and I've been doing this for about 8 or 9 years now. And it's because I wanted people to be in a building to show other people what to do in the event of an emergency. My son, whose his 34th birthday was over the weekend, just moved into a new office building here in town, a brand new one. He has an office there. And he says, you know what, on the second day, Dad, the fire alarm went off, and he says, it was unbelievable. He says, those people were clueless on what to do. He says, I couldn't believe it. And he says, they're like standing around, well, what do we do? What do we do? He says, you go to an exit and you leave. He says, I had to tell them. And he says, I couldn't believe it. They really honestly didn't know what to do. The other side of the coin is sometimes people really panic. Situation gets out of control unbelievably. And there's got to be some people there to bring it under control. This is what the Fire Safety Warden is going to do. So what is it? It's to provide assistance to the occupants of a building during a fire or another emergency. To provide assistance to the first responders who come to the building. You're going to observe and report fire and life safety issues, and you're going to work that through the proper chain of command and let somebody know that's something. And I think I got a handout for this for everybody. But you know why we're doing all this? To help save lives and property. It's the bottom line. Now you're part of the system. So what are the qualifications? Should be a person who wants to do it. Well, I guess we blew that one, right? No, let me rephrase that. Your supervisor says, you want to do this, don't you? Yeah. It's like your evaluation comes up in the next 6 months. You want to do it, right? It's a person who is reliable and available on a regular basis. If they're only here like once a month out of 12 months, they're no good. A person who is well composed during stressful situations. Not the guy when the fire alarm goes off, he starts screaming, we're all going to die. You know, you don't want the, no. You have completed my fire and life safety course. Now you know I have people coming up. I didn't know that that's how bad it gets. You are the ones that are going to be leading the people. You got to know how serious it's going to get. A lot of you didn't know that stuff before, did you? It's bad stuff. You got to get them out of the building. You know the seriousness of it. And also, I would recommend that you learn CPR and AED. You guys got AEDs in your building? No? Don't you have them out in the hallways or anything like that? Yeah. I'll talk to whoever the people are that set up the class. I do it all the time. I got a killer course. It takes 20 minutes. Everybody that takes my class, they're just hoping somebody falls to the ground. They just want to go over and get that thing so bad and hook it up and everything. But you're going to have some drills and people are going to remember you got your vest on. Hey, you know what? She's a fire safety warden. She probably knows what to do. Joe's laying on the ground. He's not moving. They're going to come to you. So you should know some simple first aid and how to use the AED. You know what? The AED is easier than the fire extinguisher because it talks to you. All it just says, please take me off the wall and turn me on. That's all it does. That's all it wants you to do, and then I will do the rest. You just follow my lead. As soon as you turn it on, it's what I call dummy proof. If you can listen, you can follow instructions. It's easy. So I'm not going to get into the ops plan, but there should be an emergency operations plan for every facility. And I get calls all the time, people saying, do you have like a generic one you can give me? They've been tasked with a school or a building, and they say, I've been tasked with putting an ops plan together, and can you just give me a generic one so I can say I got it done? No, I can't. Because your emergency operations plan is not going to be the same as UNC or the Smith Center or NV Energy's building. Every building is completely different, and it has to be tailored, fit for that building. So you're going to have to do the homework. And then fire safety wardens should know what the ops plan is. Wherever you're at, you should know what's going on. Each facility has its own. You should be familiar with it, and it's made specifically for that facility. And it should be updated on a regular basis. So how you make an ops plan, so you understand what an ops plan is. I like those yellow tablets, those yellow things that you write. That's how I like to take notes. So I sit people down and I say, write down everything that could possibly happen at the Clark County Government Center. Could you have a fire? Could you have an explosion? Could we have a power outage? Severe storms, earthquakes, civil disturbance, domestic violence? Could we have a bomb threat? Could we have terrorism? Could we have a hazardous mirror? You got a railroad line right in your backyard, right along the line. We're on a landing pattern for the airport. There's just a whole bunch of things that could go on in this building. And actually, you don't get it done in 5 minutes. You're actually there for about 45 minutes, and people are just coming up with different things. Yeah, this, you know, cyber terrorism and all that. Your emergency operations plan is going to address this. So you turn to the section on bomb threats. What am I supposed to do in the event of a bomb threat? Turn to the ops plan and it'll say, don't pick up the box of ticks, you know, get everybody out of the room and stuff like that. But it tells you what to do. So you don't have to keep everything in your mind. Schools have little mini ones on the wall in the classrooms and that, but it's your Bible. It tells you what to do in the event of an emergency. So because sometimes, you know, people fill in at different buildings, you know, go over to the treatment plant and hold it down, you know, so-and-so's house burned and he's not going to be here for a couple weeks. Well, what am I supposed to do in case the chlorine starts to leak? You sit down with the book and you refresh yourself. Well, I'm supposed to call so-and-so, here's his number. I'm supposed to call 911. I'm supposed to do this and that. That's what the emergency operations plan is. The fire safety warden is a person that is there to assist. Your job is to assist with evacuation. What I call fire safety wardens, you're sweepers. And what you're sweeping the building of is life. That's your job, is to get everybody out of here alive. You're supposed to do. You're going to assist the occupants. The first responders are going to get here. You get a whole bunch of people running out of a building, and the fire department comes up, and I'm going to tell you from experience, from riding on a seat, you don't know who to talk to. You know, when you go to a house fire, there's usually somebody out there waving to you. Yeah, what's going on? We got everybody out of the house, but my dog's upstairs in the bedroom. The fire's in the back utility room and that. But you got, you know, hundreds of people running out of the building. You go, boy, who's in charge here? When you have people that are trained and they're wearing their vests, they go, well, that must be somebody that knows what's going on and somebody that can tell me what I should do or where to go or who to report to. But you got to remember, you're not expendable, regardless of what the county told you. You're still an important person. So your safety is just as important as everybody else's. There should be one person that's the lead person, and this stuff here is divided amongst yourselves. So and that person kind of oversees the program. So you guys come from different walks of lives. You come from different buildings. I have the same thing. I do this for the feds. I do it for the state. I do it for all the agencies. And somebody has to keep the ball rolling on the program. And then at your facility, there needs to be a lead. So there is a whole bunch of different departments here today. There's people from this department, that department. There needs to be a lead there. And that person is going to take care of their particular building to make sure that everything is kept up. It's usually, you're going to be the liaison between the first responders. You're the one that's going to go out and talk to the fire department or the police when they get there and tell them what's going on. And it should be a person that has a little bit of authority. It's been approved by your supervisor. You're talking on behalf of Clark County. You're making decisions. And that sort of thing. I'm not giving you a vest because the county's decided they're going to give their own vest, which is fine because I ran out of vests. So they says that they would get vests for you. When you get your vest, this is what I recommend. You're not all going to be disappointed because you didn't get your vest today, huh? Yeah, you were going to stop at Shooters and pick up a red light on the way home and put it in your car. I like those little cloth bags, like at the grocery store or something. Some places even, maybe they got a Clark County bag that you guys give away at school functions or something. But get a bag and put your vest in there. A pocket notebook and pen. I recommend you put a flashlight in, because what if the electricity is out? What if you're in a stairwell and the emergency lighting doesn't work? Earplugs. I know they got earplugs all over, but you're going to be the last person out of the building, and the alarm's going to be going off the whole time. You're going to be walking by them. It'll give you a headache. You can put toilet paper in there and just roll up toilet paper and put it in there, but take it from me, you're going to have a headache after a while, so you want to cut down on the sound. Some kind of communications device. How are you going to talk to each other? If you've got 6 different exits and you've got people, if you've got fire safety wardens assigned for this building, how are you going to know that everybody is out of the building? Or what if somebody is still in the building and they need assistance getting out? That has to get back to the lead, because the lead's going to be at the command post and they can tell the chief, there's a person in the building and they can't get out. You're going to have to send in some firefighters to get them out. These are things that wherever I go, I tell them. Some places have walkie-talkies. Some places use their cell phones. That's something that you're going to work out, but you need to be able to communicate with each other. Here's another thing about the bag, and this is from personal experience. So you know a little bit more than the rest of the guys. Put it in a desk drawer where you can grab it, and then put your car keys in there. Maybe put your purse next to it. If you're wearing heels at work, put in a pair of flats. Put in a bottle of water. When that alarm goes off in a building, and you grab that bag and you're pushing everybody out, and there's nothing that says you can't put your bag, or maybe you want to have a little backpack. I don't care. That's up to you. But when you walk out of that building, you should be under the impression you may never, ever come back into this building ever again. And I'm not saying move out. Your life is on the line right there. But nobody would have ever thought 9/11. And when you look at those images of people that walked for miles because, what if we had the big one, the earthquake, right now? The bridges are going to come down. The worst structures is the 95 downtown. Roads are messed up. You're thinking about, how am I going to get to the house? How am I going to get with the kids? I got to get to the house. I'm not going to be able to take the car. You got a bottle of water, you got walking shoes, you got your keys in there so you can get in the house. You can have extra supplies in your car. If you live in a desert here, you should have some supplies in the car, because a car can break down. You can have a bad wreck on a 95, and you can sit there for 3 hours. Look at would anybody have ever dreamed happened on at the Cajon Pass this past summer? Do you remember the pictures? I mean, those cars were swept up in a fire. They didn't do anything. They were driving, or the people up here, Moapa last year, that were driving in a flood. Did you look at those videos? Unbelievably scary. And you're caught up in it all of a sudden. So you should have some of those things with you all the time. And then so if you got some extra things in your car, you can open up the trunk. I got my keys, but oh, you know what? I forgot my keys. Can I run back in the building? No, we think it's collapsing on the inside, or something bad is happening. You can't go back inside. So put that stuff in your bag. It's recommended that you have a person assigned to each exit, but I know that that's the best case scenario because you're kind of thin. So you can use security people sometimes to help you with directing people out of the building. When the alarm is sounded, non-essential people and guests should evacuate the building according to your plan. So your plan is going to tell you where the people are going to go and how they should go. So I don't know how it is at this building here, but a lot of places have designated areas. So if everybody's leaving this area here, if this is full of people during a commissioner's meeting, they're going to tell people to go out these doors, and I imagine they're going to go out that door. But is there a place for people to report to? Some places have like a sign up, and it's got a number on it or a letter, and they say, I want you to keep walking until you come to the sign that has the letter A on it, or the number 1, and stand at that sign so we can get a head count. So you give them a target, because if you don't, they're just going to start standing all around in a parking lot and getting away in emergency vehicles, and you won't be able to get a head count and stuff like that. So you got to have some kind of a target. In your buildings, the fire alarm, especially the high rises, do we have people here that work in high rises? Okay, the fire alarm's going to go off on the fire floor, the floor above, and the floor below. That's it, just those 3 floors. So if you got a 12-story building and the fire is on floor 7, the alarm's going to go off on 6, 7, 8. It's not going to go off on the other floors. The people on the other floors, they're looking out the windows. They see a whole bunch of fire trucks pulling up, people running out of the building. Do you hear the alarm? Nope. Well, I don't know, but I'm leaving. You got to let them leave. If they want to leave, they have to leave. And a lot of times those people will say to the news media, well, the alarms didn't work in the building. No. The fire shouldn't leave those floors. And that's what happened at 9/11. If you think something is wrong, and I tell people 99% of the time, your gut will tell you. If you feel that something bad is happening, it's probably right. 99% of the time, your gut's right. If you say, I think I should leave and stand outside, you leave. I would follow my gut's reaction. Anyone is allowed to leave the building that wants to. Fire safety wardens should observe the evacuation and leave as needed. While walking around the floor as people leave, fire safety wardens should direct occupants to the nearest exit. Please proceed to that exit right there, just like the airline stewardess. You just tell everybody, please go. There's 3 doors right there. Please go out those doors right there. You over there. There's exits. Please go out where the red signs are. Any doors that are observed open should be closed. Closed doors help save lives and property. People with special needs should be assisted as needed. So if a person can't get down the stairwells and they're on the 3rd floor, somebody's going to stay there with them. You know, good luck. We'll send somebody after you. I'm out of here. No, somebody's going to stay there. So the fire safety warden should check areas as they progress towards the exit themselves. Quickly scan restrooms, locker rooms, conference rooms, break rooms, and other places. We're going out this door right here. The restrooms are in there. You go in the restrooms. I want you to open every stall door. And look, that's the data deaf guy is sitting on a toilet. Doesn't hear the alarms. I want no stone unturned. Open up the scanner room or the copier room or whatever, and just make sure that there's nobody in there. Fire safety wardens will be working their ways towards the exit, and you're going to be the last person out. You are absolutely convinced that it's clean behind you. There is no life behind. Exits are marked with red or green signs. They tried changing the color. I like red, it's more visible, but there was a push to change it to green because green means go, but it just seems like red shows up a little bit more. Color means no difference. Doors to exit should be closed at all times. That has exit signs, the door should stay closed. And exits are well marked so you can find your way out of the building. Exit stairwells are bunkers. I told you that. So we're going to be using them to evacuate the people, and the fire department's going to be using them to ascend to the fire, because the elevators are going to go to the ground floor and lock. Doors to the exits should never be left open because that's a chimney then. So the law says you can't put no storage in those stairwells, no ashtrays, and that sort of thing. They should be nothing in there that could catch fire and compromise the integrity of the stairwells. People with special needs will need to be helped down the stairs. If someone can't get out on their own, someone should stay with them, report it to command, and then we will send some firefighters up to help them get them out. Again, no storage, no ashtrays, doors. Emergency lighting should be checked on a regular basis, like 30 days. The terrorists took out the emergency lighting in the World Trade Center in '93. Most of the injuries were from the people trying to escape going down the stairwells. They were falling over each other. There's no windows, there's no light in there at all. People say, all of our cell phones have flashlights in them. Use a flashlight. It is unbelievable how fast that flashlight in your cell phone uses up the power in your flashlight. My son just broke down driving down to California at midnight, and he called me, and I says, well, call me on the phone, and he texts back, I use so much power on a flashlight, I don't have much power left. You use less on a text. That cell phone is your communications device. Whenever I'm not doing anything at home, if I'm sitting in my easy chair, I got a charger right next to me. I try to keep that thing at 100% capacity, because that is your lifeline today. So don't use the flashlight on it. It's a waste of power. Use a regular flashlight. Elevators are going to go to the ground floor and lock because the elevator shaft is a chimney. We can use it. We don't use them because it's a death trap. We use it when we're cleaning up and we're going home to bring the hoses down and that. Outside, as people evacuate the building outside, they should report to their pre-designated meeting places according to your ops. People should watch for emergency vehicles, as well as other cars in the parking lot crossing. Fire safety wardens should assist with giving directions for those people meeting at the place. The meeting place should be outside the building, far enough away that people are not affected by combustion products. They should get a head count. They should report to the company representative or lead fire safety warden as outlined in their ops plan with their head count. If weather conditions warrant, such as very hot, cold, whatever, so we're evacuating, and it is just lightning and thundering to Bojangles outside. It's just unbelievably bad. And you think the building was hit by lightning. Can't make people stand out in a storm, so you got to have a plan B. I tell everybody, when you have your ops plan, you got to have a plan B. So where are we going to evacuate these people to? They can't stand outside. I don't know, maybe you can make an agreement with the people across the street that says that people could go in their buildings. I tell a lot of people, one good resource, and I've used them in my career many times, was buses. I called up and says, I need 6 buses right now. It's an emergency. But you should have that in your ops plan and have an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, with RTC ahead of time saying in the event of an emergency, we could borrow 6 buses for evacuation purposes, and you should have contact names and numbers, so you're not trying to call people and then you got to go through the chain of command, and everything, and they got to ask their boss and who's going to pay me and all that. It's a good alternative, but you should have alternatives. You should have a plan B. Fire safety wardens should assist with people watching traffic and that sort of a thing. So here's what's going to, you're going to be pushing people out of the building. And when the fire goes off, if you've got a fire in a workroom, 10:10. Oh, I thought it was 11:10. Geez, I almost panicked. It's people are going to evacuate, and they're going to be pretty calm. So we're here at the building, and you know, we got some fire safety wardens in the building, and it's raining outside. It's not a good day, and all of a sudden, the police helicopter crashes right out here in the parking lot where my van is, right outside the windows. Makes this tremendous bang noise. All of a sudden, thick black smoke, flames everywhere. You can't see nothing out there but black and orange and everything. It shook the building. People get up. The smoke is going to come in a little bit to the building. It sets off the alarms. During an emergency, a condition comes up known as the candle moth syndrome or tunnel vision. When people get really scared, all they do is they task themselves like, I got to get out of here to safety or I'm going to die. So they fix themselves on a target and they don't look at the whole picture. They don't look at the 360. It's the guy that's driving down a freeway and he comes up and he sees a body laying on the road at Flamingo right there. And he goes, oh my God, there's a body in the road. And he slams on the brakes and he wants to jump out and help this guy that's in the road. Doesn't look in the rearview mirror, and just as he jumps out, a Mack truck hits him and takes him down the road. Should have stopped the car, put his emergency lights on, look in the rearview mirror to make sure that it's safe to get out, and then get out and help that person. So you can't be caught up in tunnel vision or the candle moth syndrome, where the moth that just keeps looking at the light and not looking at the guy with the fly swatter right there. You got to look at the whole thing. So people are starting to peel out these doors. Alarms go off and the wardens come up and they go, this is not a good place to go. The glass probably will fail during the fire. So I'm going to send them out. You know your building better. I assume these are better exits right here than going out there. But these people are going to panic. The people in the upper floors are going to be coming down like a bat out of Hades through the stairwells and everything. And then they're going to start running that way to get away from the fire. And they're not going to use the crosswalk. They're going to start crossing Grand Central at every place, walking out in front of cars. Engine 10's pulling in. He's flying like there's no tomorrow. Somebody runs out in front of him. You are here to take control. So I had at the Grant Sawyer building, they had a bomb threat. And they were starting to evacuate people. They were calling them on the phone. And some people knew something was up. And someone out in the lobby, I guess it goes up over floors. I've been up there before. Someone just yelled out, it's a bomb. And all of a sudden, everybody just went into panic mode. And bodies just started going across Washington. They were all going into Cashman Field. They were all running out in front of cars and everything. All right, you're not going to be able to stop that people. What can you do? You can get out there with your safety vests on and stop the traffic on Grand Central. And make sure that those people, get them across the road. They're going to be inconvenienced for a few minutes. You're not going to stop the fire truck. So you're going to grab the people and just say, hey, wait a minute, let the fire truck through, because they're not going to see it. Because they think they're going to die. So you need to look around at the whole thing. You need to be cognizant of the sirens. Where's the smoke going? Don't go down that way. That's where the smoke is going. Don't go out that exit. You have people, they drill all the time. You have a fire drill in a building and you're going out this one exit and the helicopter is right up against that door where they exit. Well, you're not going to be able to go down that exit. So you can't go this way. You got to go the other side. This exit is blocked. It's like my son says, these people are clueless. They're really looking for direction, and that's why you're here. So you got to tell them where to go. You're the only people with a cool head there until we get here to help you. So you got to take control of the situation. Now, when it's all over with, the all clear has been issued, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to start helping people back to the building, but you're going to follow all the rules. We're not going to get out there and stop traffic on Grand Central. You're going to tell them you have to cross at the crosswalk. Make sure that it's good for people to come in. You also, if you work in a building for a long time, you know who's here on a daily basis and who isn't. Look for infiltrators. You might even tell people they have to show their IDs or something like that. But if you're at a secure location, which is supposed to be really secured, and it's very security sensitive, maybe the fire alarm was set off as a ruse to get people out of the building, and somebody wants to infiltrate in and get in with the crowd so they can do some more damage to you. So that's called a diversion. So you're not going to challenge that person. That's what security and police are for, but at least you have an eye on that person and you can make those people aware. I don't know if I'm supposed to cover shelter in place, but this is real easy. Shelter in place means something bad is happening outside, and in the old days, a tanker car turns over out here on the railroad. The loose chlorine car is going down the railroad track again. Do you remember that? Where the railroad car went from Blue Diamond all the way up or something? Well, it derailed behind your building, and it's leaking gas out. That's not a good one. Let's say a leaking truck on the 15. That's better. It gives me a few minutes. So 15 is over there. So what happens is we get there with our trucks, and we have weather instruments and all that stuff on there. Everything's computerized now. And we type in the name of the chemical, and it knows all of what's going on and everything. And the computer takes all the weather instruments, the barometric pressure, because all that has a bearing, and it draws this diagram like a teardrop on a map. And it says everybody inside the teardrop's going to die. They need to take precautions. So it used to be, well, we're going to evacuate that area and take people to a school. You can't even drive down the street and get gasoline in less than an hour today because of the traffic. But buildings today are airtight. That's why fires are so bad in buildings, because it's like an oven. Buildings today your home is literally an oven. The heat and everything stays in. So keep the people inside the building and make the bad stuff stay outside. So you get an order to shelter in place. There's a number of ways that you can get shelter in place. You can get it on your cell phone. All the new cell phones now. I don't know if you noticed it, but when we're having the floods lately, your phone makes this really weird noise, and it says warning or something. That is the new modern day air raid siren. In the old days, we had the air raid sirens on the schools, and we taught everybody to listen. If you were laying in bed and the sirens went off, you knew that something bad was happening. Because they went like for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you knew what it was. But you can't hear them today. Everybody's got a cell phone. So they actually made this for the President of the United States in the event that we were being attacked by an enemy. But they says, we'll give permission to local governments to use it. And it's through a system that we call iPause, which I can do it from my iPad right there. I can activate it. I can make it go to your fax machines. I can make it go to your emails. I can do it all over. But everybody's got a cell phone today. Everybody's got a cell phone. So it goes to your cell phone, and you will get a thing, and it'll say, you need to shelter in place. And it will give the instructions. So what that means is you close up the building, lock the doors, windows and doors, because locked doors and windows are tighter. You can take tape, like I can see light around that door right now. So I can take masking tape, is what the school district use. I like duct tape, that's what the pros use, and use it to seal off. You should have big sheets of plastic. So some people have what they call a shelter-in-place box, which is a Rubbermaid box, one of those plastic boxes that you get at the store. And you can have duct tape and plastic and all that. You can take tape and put it over vents, shut off your HVAC system, keep the bad air out, keep the good air inside. And in every case where that's been used in the United States, people live. It works. So whether you're at home or you're at work and there's a shelter in place, And what I tell people is, because we're so conscientious about the environment and we want to keep the cold air in, we've insulated our rooms so much to keep as much cold air in. Every room is like a little bubble in bubble paper. And the object of the game is you want to be in the middle of the paper because it takes longer for stuff to seep into another room. So a lot of places will have signs on a door that says designated shelter in place room, and they have the box in the closet, and then they have other rooms that are around it. So you want to get the most interior room. Take your phone, a device in there so you can get instructions from us, get the all clear, and you're good to go. The best people to do shelter in place, the ones that know to do it the best, is your kids, because they do it at school. We test them. Twice a year we go in there, we give the order. Every school is tested, every classroom. We go into school and we give the alarm. The teachers know what to do, the kids know what to do. They get the kid out. They go through it. So if you say, we got to do it, ask your kids, how do you do it in school? And they'll show you how to do it. They're the very best. That's shelter in place. That's it in a nutshell. Lockdown. Lockdown means that something bad is happening. The police are chasing somebody through the area. They got guns or bombs or something. And they're afraid they're going to run into the building, so they could come up here real quick. Metro comes up here. They run in the front door, and they tell the security out there, I want this building in lockdown right now. That means that they want every door locked coming into the building, and nobody enters or leaves the building until the all clear is given. Absolutely no exceptions. When you lock the door is locked. Nobody leaves the building, nobody enters the building until the police tell you that it's good. Well, that's Commissioner Smith. I got to let him in. Geez, guess who the cops were chasing? That's a bad example, isn't it? Well, we don't have a Commissioner Smith, right? I don't want to get called on the carpet today, you know. So Commissioner Smith is going through a bad divorce. And he tried to go and reconcile with his wife at lunch. And things just got really, really nasty. And she says, I'm going to take you to the cleaners. You just wait till my lawyer gets a hold of you. And he just gets suicidal. And she says he left here. He was in a rage. He had a gun. He's got, you know, and the police were chasing him down around here. And they says, hey, his car is just right outside the government center here. We can't find him. He's got an office here, I would assume, in the building. Don't the commissioners have an office? The kid at Virginia Tech had all the credentials to be let into the building. So when they say don't let anybody in or out of the building, nobody goes in or out. When you're in lockdown, that's not the time to put your vest on, okay? You want to be like part of the woodwork or the wall or something like that, you know. Don't say hit me, so. But that's what lockdown is. Fire prevention should be everybody's responsibility on a daily basis. You want to, you know, if we have a fire in this building, we're all going to be inconvenienced. I've been there. Even if you have a fire at work. I've been in my office for 19 years. It's the only place I can go where my wife hasn't changed. Every time I go home, every day, something's moved. And I got to ask, is this my house? Do I live here? You know, because the sofa's changed up. But for 19 years, I've gone in there, and that office is exactly the same. You just feel it's like an easy chair. You love your office or your workplace. And if you got to go to another place because you had a fire, it just doesn't work out right. You feel really nasty. You don't want to have a fire at work. You don't want to have a fire at home. So if you see something that could cause a fire, report it. If you see a fire extinguisher that needs servicing, report it. You're not ratting on somebody. You're saving lives and property. You're saving your job. You're saving money. You're taking care of yourself. So report it. And in your ops plan, it should say how to do it. You know, there should be a form or a person you can talk to. Set an example to other people. You know, you shouldn't be the one that has 6 candles burning on your desk or, you know, flicking cigarettes out here in the parking lot or whatever. You should set an example. You know, and that's what I tell people all the time with their kids. If you're fooling around with fire at the barbecue or Christmas or 4th of July, your kids are going to mimic you. You're a role model. And the kids are going to pick up exactly everything you do. So if people are doing dumb things on the 4th of July, they're going to do it later on in life. If they see you acting responsibly, they're going to teach their kids to be responsible, which is going to be your grandkids. And when you become a grandparent, I'm there, they're more precious to you than your kids. You know, and you don't want to see them get hurt. So you're a teacher now. You're going to teach them how to be safe and how to work with fire responsibly. I'm not going to get into bomb threats. The incident command system. So the incident command system is a system that is very concise. It works very, very well. The fire service has been using it for, since the 80s. And it's just an organized system on how we work. And then everybody gets their orders. The incident commander is the person that is in charge of the incident. You got to have one person that is going to run the whole incident. The incident commander is going to change throughout the rest of the incident. The incident commander has a command staff. So unlike the movies, you don't have a bunch of people running up there and talking to the chief and saying, this is what you need to do. Only 5 people are allowed to talk to the chief. Me, the safety officer, the liaison officer, which is the person that represents agencies and can tell the chief what is going on. The fire safety warden is the liaison. So you're one person, the designated lead, is going to be at the command post, and you're going to be out there, and you represent the Clark Government Center, and you're on the 3rd floor. The fire's on the 3rd floor. Well, what do you got up on the 3rd floor? Is it offices? What? Any dangerous chemicals? Anything that we should be concerned about? How many people do you think work up there? That sort of a thing. The firefighters get up there and they say, I think it's something electrical. We need to have somebody from maintenance come up and do something for us. He doesn't know who the maintenance people is. He's going to turn to the lead and say, we need somebody from your maintenance division. Can you get them to come and meet us over here at the command post? That's why you have somebody there with the chief. So it first starts with the first unit. So Engine 10 gets here before anybody else. They're probably going to be the first ones here. He's going to establish command. He's going to tell everybody else what to do because he's got his eyes on. You run out there and you say, the fire is on a 4th floor. We have the people evacuating the building. It's a microwave in a small office up there. You're giving your report. Everybody else is on the way over here, and they're going, I wonder what they got. He knows, and he's going to start setting up. She knows, and they're going to be telling everybody else what to do. I need you to lay lines. I need you to get this. There's a person with smoke inhalation. They're at the back door. Rescue. You go around to the backside by the railroad tracks. There's a person at the door that's possibly with smoke inhalation. Engine 10 is going to stay in command until the battalion commander arrives. When he gets here, he's going to pass command. And then he's going to go, okay, Captain, go catch up with your crew. I got it from here. Maybe it gets really big. Helicopter crashes into the building, goes into 2 or 3 alarms. Probably an assistant chief is going to come up because we've got so many employees working, so many divisions, branches going out. An assistant's going to show up, and the chief that got there is going to take one section, maybe one floor, another chief's going to take another floor, and they're going to report to that chief. It's like a tree, and it keeps growing. And then as the incident de-escalates, it's going to go in reverse. And it's eventually going to end up back with that captain on Engine 10. He's going to be the last one to leave. He's going to say to the person that his liaison, we're done, everything is fine, we're leaving the building with you, you're responsible for it. Thanks for helping us. But that's what the incident command system is. So that's why the lead is so important. They need to be out there to tell that first unit that's arriving what's going on at their facility. I got everybody out, I got people trapped, the fire's here, this is what I think is on fire, that sort of thing. So everybody else that is coming, or many times you say something, it's a bottle of picric acid, and they dropped it on the floor. Well, I need to get hazmat route. Don't have to wait till the firefighters get up there. If the lead tells them that that's going on, let's get hazmat rolling. That saves time. So we can always turn them around and get them go back. But that's how the incident command system works. The command post, that's just a term that we use. It could be an engine, it could be the chief's car. Sometimes it changes at incidents. It's not a particular vehicle. We do have a command post, but that's for like really super gigantic week-long incidents and that. Only a very few number of people are going to be at the command post because people in a command post are trying to think. They've got whiteboards in front of them. Nowadays, we have to know exactly where every single person is. That's how firefighters die. So every door they go through, they got to tell the chief where they're at. And they got little magnets with people's names on it. And he says, so if we go in there and we say, where's Bill Smith at? He's on the 3rd floor, south side. We know exactly where everybody is. Everybody has to be accountable. So he's got to be able to concentrate, and it's not like the movies where, Chief, we're losing it, and all that. He's got to be able to think, and he's got a bunch of people. They're sitting in a car most of the time with their windows rolled up because it's very meticulous. It's actually like an operation. They have to do their job, and they have to coordinate what they're doing. And the lead is going to be there to assist. After you have an incident, you should have a critique. All fire safety wardens should participate during a critique, discuss what went right and wrong, make recommendations to change your ops plan if needed. Company representatives and management should be on board. If they're not on board, then it just doesn't work. I am always available to attend any of your meetings. I'm just there as an advisor. Not trying to tell you how to do it, but anytime you want me to come in and sit in on any safety meetings, I would be more than glad. We do critiques after a fire all the time. Sometimes right after the fire, right while we're still at the fire, you'll see everybody gang up in the street. And before everybody leaves the scene, it's what we call a hot wash. And the chief, while he's just thinking, the commander, the IC, while he's there, he just says, hey, you guys did really good here, but you really screwed it up over there. We missed that hydrant. There was one closer and stuff like that, because you have a tendency to forget. It's not, we don't pick on each other. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? Because when we get that next fire, we want to be better. So we do a real quick wash right there in the street, a hot wash. And then if it was a really big operation, a big fire, then we set up a big meeting and we actually make a manual on it and diagrams and everything. And if it's a real particular incident like the MGM or something like that nowadays, it's called the Green Book. We'll get other fire departments that actually come to us and they'd say, hey, you guys have been through, when we have a fire here in Las Vegas, it's amazing, like when you have the Monte Carlo, it's not my jurisdiction, but I'll get calls from other fire departments and they say, you know what, we got a building that's just like that. We'd like to learn from what you guys went through. Can you send us your Green Book? So we can tell our people, hey, heads up, you should look for this, you should look for that, this worked, that didn't work. Well, that's what critiques do. Practice. You should have at least 2 fire drills a year. And I'm always available for practice. So that is the fire safety warden program. We're going to take a break here, and then the last thing is the fire extinguisher. But I want to say a couple of things while it's fresh in everybody's mind. And this is my rant section, okay? This is the most important. You should never go to bed at night without a smoke alarm. When you go to sleep at night, your nose goes to sleep with you. You cannot smell. You lose your sense of smell. Even Sunrise Hospital did tests, and they says you are right. You cannot smell. This is a big giant nose stuck to the ceiling, and when it goes off, it says you got 90 seconds to get out of the house and go to safety. There should be a smoke alarm in every bedroom, in a hallway leading to that bedroom, and one outside the kitchen area, and one outside, or one on every other floor if it's a multi-story floor. You should test your smoke alarms once a month. Just take a broomstick, a dowel or something, push the button until it goes up. and push the button and make sure that it works. So like those kids, they didn't test the smoke alarms. They should have known that the smoke alarms didn't work. You should change the batteries in them once a year. It's coming up this weekend. When you change your clocks back in the fall, you change them. New smoke alarms are coming out with 10-year batteries. Smoke alarms should be changed every 10 years. It's a recommendation. So with the new units with the battery built into them, when the battery starts chirping, it means replace the smoke alarm and all. It doesn't last forever. Nothing does. You should have fire drills at home like you do at work. Do we have fire drills here? Yes? Okay. Okay, all right. You answered that one. Most states require two fire drills now, 2 fire drills. That's where you find out if your warden system program is working. When the people recognize you with your vest, then it gets more serious. But here's what's important. The kids drill in school every month from kindergarten until they graduate. That's called a conditioned reflex. If that alarm goes off, those kids don't have to think about what to do. They get up and they do it because they've done it so many times before. Your kids don't know what to do at home. They will not wake up to the smoke alarm. That is a conditioned reflex. They have to be taught what a smoke alarm sounds like. You need to take the smoke alarm down or get one and push the button. Sit down and talk with your kids at the kitchen table. This is serious stuff. If you ever hear this go off in the middle of the night, I want you to roll out of bed onto the floor, except if you got a bunk bed, and you go down the ladder. I get that asked in school all the time. And I want you to crawl out of the bedroom, go down the hallway, go down the stairs, go out the front door, and meet us at the mail thing at the end of the hallway, or the big rock at the end of the drive, something, so they know what to do. Then do it. Set off the smoke alarm and say, we're going to pretend doing it now. And you do it with them. Reinforce it. Make them get down on their belly and make them do it, and everybody do it with your eyes closed. So you remember how long it took you to get down to the end of the hall. How long did it take it going down the stairs? You back up and you go down face first, down feet first, with your face towards the floor, and go out the front door. Those kids will never forget it. They will remember that talk. I can remember when my mom told me about it 50 years ago. It's still in my mind, what she wanted us to do, how to crawl out on the garage or how to go out on the front porch. I can remember it to this day. But you need to reinforce it and you need to show it. What if something happens in the middle of the night, and this happened, an airplane crashes into your house and it crashes right into the bedroom and it kills you and the wife? Smoke alarms go off, house is filling up with smoke. Kids have been taught what to do. If you don't teach them what to do, they're going to die with you. If you sat there and says, if I'm not around, if we're not in the house, I want you to do exactly what I told you to do. And go out there, and if we're not out there in 5 minutes, I want you to go next door and bang on a neighbor's house and tell them exactly what to do. They will remember that for the rest of their lives. And your kids will live. Well, we just had a serious fire in Maryland where Grandma and Grandpa, a mansion, had all the grandkids stay with them. Christmas tree caught fire in the middle of the night. Kids didn't know what to do, and they died with them because no one told them what to do. You see it on television all the time. They have it as a sweep story where they'll put a smoke alarm up and they'll have the camera set up and they set it off and they want to see how long it'll take the kids to wake up. The kids are not going to wake up. They are deep sleepers from 0 years to 20 years. And unless they've been conditioned, you could have a brass band playing and they will not wake up. But if you put that noise in their brain and put that seed in there, it will stay there the rest of their life. And they will always remember that noise. And then the other day, one of our smoke alarms broke. It just malfunctioned. And it went off at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yep. No, I'm not talking about the